Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 video. Today, we are starting into the last series when it comes to playing through the in-game content. And that, of course, is the main story quest line objective that was added in the third and final DLC expansion, Shadow of Doom. Now, there's a lot of important things about this story quest, not the least of which is how to unlock all of the final DLC fighters, the 5 that you see pictured here on the main screen, as well as the final secret character who, at this point, we all know is Thanos Infinite. So, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently in this series compared to some of the previous ones that we've been working on. First and foremost is most of you are probably wondering how to get Thanos Infinite or really struggling in doing so. So in an effort to make sure that we can show you what it's going to take in order to complete that objective, we are not going to be including Thanos Infinite on our team because, well, this is how you get him, and you shouldn't showcase how to get him using the character because he just would make everything way too easy. So this is the team that we have for now, and I will probably make some substitutions to this team based off of my personalized quest to level up all of the characters within the game to level 300. So, will this team be the same throughout the end to the final confrontation? Probably not. We're also going to play through this difficulty at its maximum. We're going to play through it in the ultimate difficulty. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous because the team that I had before was a team that I was a lot more comfortable with and more familiar using. But with every great challenge comes great learning opportunities. So let's go ahead and jump into this main story quest objective. And I normally don't play through the story quest cinematics that happen, but since this isn't a speedrun or anything of the note, and so you can kind of get a scope for what actually goes on here, because I think it's really cool. We will be playing through that, but I'm going to make some commentary throughout wherever I see fitting. So let's go ahead and start up the beginning of this objective. So of course it starts with a cutscene that involves us in Wakanda, and this is a section of the game that we don't spend a substantial amount of time in, but a decent amount.
Just as we agreed, the Infinity Stones have been secured, far from each other.
Which was a good and logical step to take.
Less I know about where everyone else hid theirs, the better. I've never been great with secrets.
Our discretion might not matter. Thanos may be gone, but others will come seeking the stones soon enough.
Yes, they will, as a matter of fact.
But we need to prepare ourselves for any.
T'Challa, are you there? Panther,
Well, he is there. He's just under attack. So we've got to run in and take care of the impending danger that is present.
Next stop, Wakanda.
And I do like the inclusion of all of our DLC characters here. It really makes things quite nice. And nice cinematics for all of them as well. Can't complain about that.
pardon me for interrupting your rooftop rumble, but your assistance is required.
Pick up the pace, Guardians. Our friends need us.
Yeah, I would be a little bit annoyed at that as well, if we're being honest.
Go home again. Earth, here we come. Yeah, lucky us.
Hey, at least you didn't get teleported there against your will, or choosing, I guess. So that's a step in the right direction and improvement. Alrighty, so let's head into this confrontation area. where we have a bunch of Doombots hanging out. And starting things off, we've got a bunch of Doombots here. And as much as I love Doctor Strange and he's my favorite Marvel character, his damage is just not doing it for me. So let's knock into these guys with someone that hits a little bit harder, and Drax just might be the guy for the job here. And hacking and slashing through these Doombots, making things look easy, I hope. Though, with the increased level of difficulty, of course, all of our opponents have some increased health. And also hit a little bit harder. So, there goes that guy. At least Drax moves pretty quick, even if he does have a very slow hitting at 3-hit combo. Honestly, I think our best combo team member we have is Falco. Especially because Elsa is best at a distance.
It tells me it's not over.
And let's head down into the Necropolis. Now, I could go around and get the cast dialogue here, but I'm not going to. I will probably eventually make a video where I go through that, just for those who tend to or choose to glance over that on their own playthrough. But for now, let's jump down to the bottom and watch Elsa Bloodstone glitch into the wall, I suppose.
Last time we visited the necropolis, things didn't end well.
I think a lot of the objectives that are down here, a lot of the hidden secrets are pretty similar. So one thing that you'll want to do here is you will want to first focus on taking down the teleporters, as they will bring in more enemies for you to have to worry about, I suppose, is the terminology here. So make sure that you focus those down, and that will ensure... Okay, we're going to detonate some extreme attacks here just to get these guys off my back. But the quicker you take out your opponents that are coming in through the teleporters, the less... So that's always highly advisable. And before we head back that way, we'll want to make sure we round out any of these guys. And there's actually one other teleporter back here. And that is a very heavy-hitting attack for Drax there, so quite useful for breaking down those teleporters, if you ask me. And there's nothing else back here. There is a dividing point. No, there's not. There's a dividing point just up the way here. So we'll want to take out these guys and on into the next area. Now, a lot of these opponents, if you're looking to blitz through this as quickly as you can indeed just kind of run through it pretty easily, ignoring a lot of these objectives. I don't recommend that approach because it's really good to get as much experience as you can, especially if you are kind of new to this quest, as it has a very high damage difficulty ramp up. Alright, that large mighty Doombot is down. And that attack from Drax, unfortunately, involved us spinning out in the wrong direction away from the opponents that we were needing. Let's switch over to Falco for a minute. Or Falcon. Got my terminology mixed up between here and Super Smash Bros. It appears. Which I do have a series on that starting up after the first of the year that I'm really excited for. And there goes another mighty enemy here. Okay, we'll want to employ Drax's help again to take down this teleporter. Man, just look at how well they synergize and melt that thing. I mean, that was 90 to 95% of its health with one synergy attack there. Alright. Maybe I've been a little too harsh on Elsa. So let's give her a little bit more attention here. And she just doesn't feel like she does a whole lot of heavy hitting. And it doesn't exactly help that the only hit out of her combo that finishes out is the final hit with no other staggering that takes place there. Alright, looks like we're going to need to have you synergize here with Drax to get behind this wall. Alright, let's see if we can melt down this Doombot, even though you can't really see what's going on because these pillars are not placed the best. But we can knock out this rare box and claim ourselves a piece of ISO. And I think that's indicative of me never having opened that one before, but I have been wrong on a couple of different occasions, so could have happened. Is there another secret back here? No, it's just a wall that you can knock down. Alright, let's get Falco back over here. Falcon. Camera angles, gotta love them. And layering into this guy works pretty well. And Falcon's aerial attacks do tend to get him out of trouble fairly easily. I actually think that those type of aerials are some of the more reliable aerials in the game, as soon as you get the hang of executing them. And there goes that one. And I think there's only one other opponent up here we really need to take on. But there's a teleporter right here in the middle that we'll want to take down, actually, to fully assure that we're in the clear. Can I get a synergy up here? It doesn't appear that I can, which isn't the end of the world. But now I can. Roll out of the way of that guy. And can't quite get a synergy off here. Though we can now that Elsa has come over to join us. And if you really wanted to, you could just go through the door here at the end and progress into the next section. But like I said, where this is probably going to be your first experience with it, I think it's beneficial for you to see a little more details about what you can expect here. And just like that, we've got the last of these Doombots down. And those are all of the objectives out here in the Necropolis foreground before coming into this final area here. You also notice that my units have dropped a little bit, or my credits have dropped down a little bit, mainly due to the fact that I have found an excellent use for leveling up some of my characters within the Shield Depot, which I will eventually be making a video on best strategies for leveling up teammates, where we will talk about that a little bit more in depth. Alright, let's keep on moving here. And we'll need to come up here and disable this teleporter as quickly as we can. And one thing that you may have noticed is there's a pretty drastic difference here between what this room regularly looks like and what its current view is based off of the present laser head. And that is just one of the many changes that have happened with the DLC here. Let's get our extreme attacks detonated off here. Take out a large group of our opponents. And that seemed to work fairly well for this large group of opponents here. I do think that Falcon has some good resources in his kit, but he does have some lackluster damage, which is not always the funnest thing to see or experience or work with, really. But it happens. Okay, let's get Drax over here, because I think this ability works better for taking out these teleporters. Okay. That's actually a decent coverage move from Elsa there, so I can't complain too heavily. Alright, let's get a couple more of these unleashed here to bolster our team damage. Not one of my better detonations, but it gets the damage in that we needed, initially at least. And that ground slam will take out a fair chunk of these fellows. And before we actually actively engage with the laser grid here, we'll want to double back into that last chamber. And see, this is the nice thing about having characters that make physical contact with their opponents, is you do end up being able to throw off the attack of the smaller grunt enemies instead of taking consistent damage through it. And that's the biggest difference that we have here between characters such as Drax and characters like Elsa Bloodstone. Okay, now let's run back in here and take care of some of these teleporters. I think there's just, there's 3 of them.
Maybe he brought a teleporter to teleport his teleporters. That's what I do.
Shockingly, that actually makes sense.
That's one of my favorite bits of dialogue here in this DLC pack here. And one more remaining here. And then it's just a matter of cleaning up the remaining enemies. Now, I think Drax is one of the better early game characters in terms of his overall damage output, but he suffers pretty significantly from the overall damage threshold that he's capable of as a whole. And a lot of it comes down to his slow movement speed and attack startup. But when he does hit, he hits decently hard, though not as hard as some of the other characters in the cast. Anywho. Let's knock into this guy, finish him out, and then unlock this crate, which is going to be done by using Dr. Strange here, since it was looking for a flame attribute. And now for the security gate. And these ones can be a bit tricky. So to navigate them, I recommend having characters with a double jump, so you can flip your way through that second part of the laser grid, because those ones do move pretty quickly. Let's get Drax back on hand, because he's going to be handy going into this final confrontation here.
This chamber is sealed by Wakandan magic older than recorded history.
And Doom is a master at all things magic, so he, of course, breaches that in about 2 seconds.
It is child's play to what is versed in the dark arts as doom.
Whew.
You shall pay for that transgression with your lives.
Doom is a terrifying opponent. We're gonna need... Now, you can wait this out, but if you have the right synergy, you can break into it sooner.
I think I've got you beat on both fronts, Vic.
Time to make some magic.
And I think I detonated those a little bit early and out of the way, to the point where I'm not getting the most meat out of them, but I needed Doctor Strange to recuperate any health that he possibly could. Now, this is an annoying fight, to be sure, against Doom, but it's not the worst considering the fight that comes much, much later here.
The future of Wakanda, and perhaps the entire world, depends on ours.
Okay, he's going to go into this attack again, and because I was careless with Doctor Strange, he ended up going down. So we're going to revive him as we move into the next stage. Ooh, that was a heavy throw there from Doom. And fortunately, one of the masteries I have allows me to recuperate some health based off of damage dealt to staggered opponents. So despite Drax being in not the greatest of situations there, we were able to recover a fair amount of his health there with the use of some clever synergies and the like. Now let's detonate our extreme attacks into him, especially where we have a bunch of characters stacked up on top of him. And we've got a blast there. That's a part of Doom's standard kit that we get access to as a playable character later on down the line. And Doom's probably going to go into his central attack any second now, because he hasn't done that in a moment. That's the biggest one that you got to watch out for, because it is reactable, but there's also a pretty narrow window for you to actually take care of it. That actually does decent damage to his stagger bar, which is better than what I was otherwise expecting from Elsa. Drax is completely out of his energy points, which isn't great. And he's gone back into the center again. Let's see if we can get off a synergy and stagger him out. No, we can't, because we don't have the proper synergy lined up with Doctor Strange here. Now, something that is important to know about these main story quests is anytime your character hits a new level, they are going to recover all of their energy points and all of their health. So you can kind of strategically plan that out. And there goes Doom. We've got a couple extra levels onto some of our teammates and one final cutscene before moving in. And just like that, Doom is going to decide that he no longer wants to be here and take off, as he banishes us to an alternate dimension entirely and takes the Soul Stone into his own custody. And now this is, of course, the negative zone. And if you know anything about who's present here in the negative zone, you should know what characters to expect. But additionally, getting to this point in the story quest is going to grant you access to your first couple of DLC characters from this third expansion. We've got ourselves a couple of insectoids, an overwhelming fight here, and then if you know what's good for you, you're going to start to recognize some traits from the characters we're about to see. And this is the first glimpse of an actual usage there with Mr. Fantastic stretching, and then here's the rest of the core group. And this is really the only time you ever see Johnny in a non-ignited state. And, of course, Mr. Fantastic in his classic beard. Well, right here is going to be where we call things off for today's episode. So we will pick this up. It'll actually probably be on this coming Monday, because I've got other videos planned that you should check out as the week progresses, as there's video content coming to you every single day from many different games. So leave a like on today's video if you found it helpful and or enjoyable, and make sure you subscribe for more daily content. Until then, thanks again for your time, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.